Without going out of your door, you can know all things on earth. Without looking out of your window, you can know the ways of heaven.
Are we rolling?
Are we rolling? Yeah, we are.
Okay. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the long-awaited episode 8 of The Inner Light. Thank you for joining us today.
This episode was just played from the start. It was going so well. We had our 7-streak run, and then as soon as we got past George's favourite number, it all just went sky. It just didn't happen, did it?
No, but I'm feeling good about today. We even did a little test just to make sure all the audio was it good?
Free tests, and if this corrupts, then say la vie. We just got to roll with that, and that's fine.
If this corrupts, The Inner Light is only going to be 7 episodes long.
And that's tragic. I was hoping we'd at least make it to like 9. Like, let's be real.
True. But hey, welcome back, everyone. Hope you're all doing well. Thank you so much again for the continuous support. And yeah.
And if you're still here and sticking around, that's bloody amazing. We did not think that would happen. So longevity, that's cool. But we're back, and
We're so
for some
back.
reason we have a better connection when you're in fucking America than we do when we're like a couple of hours away. I don't know how that works, but
I know. I feel like it sounds really like clear.
yeah, we haven't changed anything. The setup's the exact same. I don't know what's going on, but
I don't know. Maybe the American Wi-Fi is just cracked. I ain't know. Got a clue. Anyway, Harry, how are you doing? Got any updates?
So I've quit my retail job, just like you.
Let's go.
I'd love to say I'm unemployed and thriving, but I'm in a pub. I'm working like 5 days a week. It's pretty chill. It's like the food side is a bit stressful because I've never like dealt with like hospitality before, and that's like a lot of like pressure to get people's like shit right. I'm not chefing it up. I can barely cook a frozen pizza. I can't lie. But
chefing it up. I love that.
But I have to like bring it out and clean the tables and pull pints. It's pretty chill. There's locals that are really nice. A few of them bought me a drink, so a win's a win.
No, that's cute.
Oh. And I get to keep tips. I don't get that in my retail job, so that's cool.
Well, it's a win-win, isn't it?
What about you? How's life throwing you?
It's going pretty good. I left my retail job 2 weeks ago, and I am thriving, not gonna lie. I just flew to Florida like landed last night, and I thought today I was gonna be rough.
But you're in like
you even said to me like, oh, no drama, if you're rough. I'm like, I have so much energy right now. So
I think it's just like the freeing, like you haven't had this for like so long. Like you're having like 8 days in a row. Like didn't you have like 14 days working in a row? Like
it was horrendous. Right, I was crashing out every day. Not good mentally. But yeah, I'm in a good place right now.
So in some kind of fucked up way, the Inner Light crashing out, it was actually all premeditated. And and it gave us some time to heal and enjoy.
It really did.
Enjoy a bit of an unemployment time.
Because we were so down bad after that episode crashed.
And also, post-uni depression is hitting so hard. I'm not even gonna lie. Like, I know I bitched about uni all the time, but it's like now I've finished it, it's like now I'm out of education. Nah, that's scared. Not a fan. Not a fan.
Hey, you got the Inner Light now. We can just pour everything into this. Okay, you guys are probably wondering, what are we talking about today?
So this is what was meant to be coming out like a fucking month ago. But shit happens, and it's here, and we'll be looking at George and John's relationship, but specifically a period that nobody really talks about. So we've got from Live Peace in Toronto to the Bangladesh concert. So it's kind of the two pivotal charity shows from each Beatle, and like their relationship surrounding both of them.
This period, this post-breakup period, like it was a very fragile time for all four of them. Obviously, you had the appearance of Alan Klein that soured a lot of the relationships between them all.
And even when George and John were close, there was still like an untalked about like hostility from either side. It was a big period of uncertainty. And then you add drugs to the mix and paranoia, and it's just a shit show.
Yes.
But fortunately, this isn't an episode about Alan Klein, because I think I'd actually go insane.
Alan Klein hate is never forced. Hate that man.
And I think that's like somebody that no matter who you are, like this isn't like a Clapton situation where it's like, oh, but he's got good music. Like there's nothing redeeming for Alan Klein.
No.
Apart from the fact that, I don't know, he...
No, that actually isn't.
No, there's nothing. I can't even...
You're trying so hard.
I wanted to play devil's advocate, but how can you redeem Satan reincarnate? You just can't.
Exactly. Okay. So where do we start?
I feel like to really understand before we get into the concerts themselves, if we just talk about how they think of their like each other's music past the Beatles, because when they're in the band, they didn't really talk about like each other's songwriting. It was just like, oh yeah, George wrote a few songs and they got better. That's kind of what they really said. In an interview with Rolling Stone, John Lennon famously said that All Things Past was better than Paul's debut, which, considering how much he disliked Paul at that time, is not exactly, the nicest thing for George. It is rubbish, light, and easy. Was he listening to the same fucking album? I don't know.
Light and easy.
And he said it was too long, which I can understand that to an extent.
That's kind of, that's like the only thing I can semi-agree with. I'm looking at you, Apple Jams.
Nah, I will not tolerate Apple Jam slander in the big year of 2020.
I'm not slandering. I'm just saying if they weren't there,
it would be I think more people would give it a chance as an album, because I feel like especially with like Spotify, like it's not apparent that it's like a bonus disc. It's just part of it, whether you like it or not. But
that is true. Anyway, we're going off topic.
The tangent's already started, and it's been. We need to lock in.
I feel like this episode's going to be like 3 hours long, so we just keep going off.
Well, it might not be anything. I might export it and all the audio's gone again, so...
Don't.
No, why am I manifesting this? Let's reverse, pause.
Right, let's get back on track.
Like, John later doubled down on what he was saying. He just said it wasn't something that he'd normally listen to with All Things Must Pass, and he didn't want to hurt George's feelings, but I can't help but think that there was some sort of jealousy, because, I mean, George was the first Beatles to get a number one album. And it's literally his magnum opus, like first time round.
And especially when you think about how John was on top for like almost a decade with all of his, songwriting with the Beatles, and then the underdog, the dark horse.
That was pretty smooth. That was pretty fucking
good. Thank you. He's the first one to get to number one. Like, I get it. And also, there was always the younger brother syndrome with George.
And John was quite outspoken with how he fought with George. Like, he made it apparent that George was quite easily replaceable. I mean, you saw in like the Get Back sessions when George left and he was just like, just bring Clapton in. It was that easy just to replace George.
Yeah, there was that whole claim that they had a fist fight. I don't really believe that though.
No, I don't really know what George Martin was yapping about when he said that, but I mean, something may have occurred. Who knows? But I just feel like on the flip side, George reconnected with Plastic Ono Band and kind of saw that John was this multifaceted person. Like, it wasn't black and white. When he was singing "Help," that wasn't just a fun little song. That was a genuine cry for help. And I think like the album Plastic Ono Band like consolidated that and gave like some more depth.
Yeah.
He realized that Lennon was quote unquote screwed up like more than he initially let on to believe, and maybe
Yeah,
that.
he kind of saw past this, I don't want to say persona, but he saw past what he was trying to cover his emotions with, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like the first like proper indication of like John not being mentally okay was songs like Julia and Your Blues from the White Album.
Oh, yeah.
And then
Yeah.
you get Plastic Ono Band that is bookended with these fucking heart wrenching songs, all about like his mother, and like it's. I don't think people understand that in like 1970, it was never like that predominant for men to be openly talking about their feelings, let alone in like a song like this.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, even going back to 68, like you said, with songs
Yeah.
like Julia, that's really cutting edge stuff.
But backpedaling a bit to September 1969, I feel like it's just important to see like how this relationship fell, grew. There's a lot of like in and out and a lot of like turbulence in between. So John straight away had the idea for the Plastic Ono Band, and George from the get go knew what the band would offer. He was offered to play with them in Live Piece in Toronto, and George didn't want anything to do with an avant-garde piece. Like he didn't. He helped out with stuff like Revolution 9, but he didn't want to be in an avant-garde. Like he didn't want to like pencil and block himself in, especially in this
Yeah.
period when he was finding his own songs. Like he didn't want to just go back to being the guitarist.
Yeah, it was never really his scene. And especially this time, like you said, like he was focusing on himself as he should. Um,
And in classic John Lennon fashion, as soon as George declined, who does he go up and ring the next day?
so let me guess. Mr. Clapton.
10 points. How the fuck did you guess? Give the girl a prize. What can I say?
The Wasp.
He's worse than the Wasp at the moment. He's a fucking like benign. he's something. He is something. But we're not going there. We're not going there. And
We're not going there. In a way, it is sweet that John still asked George to be part of the band.
yeah,
Like you'd think after almost a decade, John would want to play with other people. So like it's kind of sweet
it is
in
sweet.
a way.
You also got to think that there's like Klaus Bormann involved, so there's always that friendship between him and George. So maybe just to make like dynamics a bit easier. I don't know what happened behind closed doors, what was going through John's head, but again, John reached out. Fair enough, and he wanted it to be a spectacular rather than just like a rock and roll show. Rock and roll, rock and roll,
Rock and roll, whoa, whoa. Yeah,
and Paul was like so happy to see him come back off the concert. He kind of wanted to meet John in the middle because they all grew disdained of touring, but this gave John a kick up the arse and be like, "Fucking hell, that was amazing!" Coming back from the show, and Paul was like, "Yeah, I'd want to do this again and do gigs like back in the old days, like the Cavern." So it's the whole idea of like getting back, which is what they tried to do earlier in the year.
yeah, like playing all of their songs live and trying to get that magic back.
But John had his mind made up. He knew he was going to leave the band, and he did, and in his own form of arsery, he giggled as he was doing it, as if it was like a little school joke. That really hurt Paul, which understandably, I mean, they were like a family, and that was like saying I'm fucking leaving the family. Like, it was a big thing. And could have things been different if George took up John's offer? I mean, no one can know.
It's one of the many what ifs when it comes to the Beatles and everything. Like, so if we go down that rabbit hole,
It's a lot of what ifs, isn't it? But
yeah,
I mean, we all know that the live piece show, it was a success, and everyone there did enjoy. Like, it was something similar to like the freak out scene that was happening in America. It was very that like loud, which makes sense that he'd then collab with Zappa, but it was kind of that idea of that loud in your face. Like, it wasn't just like three chords banging them. It was like noise, like feedback. It's stuff that was like
just noise.
yeah, pretty much. But like, it was stuff that was like discouraged by like record execs at the time. Like, it was,
No one wanted to what's the word? Publicize that? I don't know. Like, no one wanted to be on the back end of that.
but like the amount of like ripples that had. I mean, you got to think there's people in the audience that would then start their own bands because of it, and started like his own like rebellious movement. At the same time, it's still being like a charity concert, so it's, you know, doing well. And regardless from this, I feel like this is the concert in between that people seem to kind of displace in their mind. George and John would share the stage 2 months later in a similar kind of show.
Like, this is crazy to me. No one talks about it.
Like, I don't think people understand like how much John hated playing live, and how much the show in Toronto just fired him up.
Yeah.
And he was approached to a charity show in London, band back up that he did the same. Like, it was just gonna be the same kind of show. There was a 48-hour window to get everyone together. And then there's a few bonus people that rocked up. So we got the likes of Keith Moon, Billy Preston, and Clapton bringing some of his friends. And again, it's
who else?
Do you want to earn another 10 points? Because I mean, just
George Harrison.
oh, ding ding ding! Let's
hour.
go.
Yeah, that's a crazy lineup.
There's actually too many people to name on stage. So much so that the whole show was like held back for 40 minutes to make sure that everything was all right on stage. It was actually insane what they were able to achieve. And
like I said, no one talks about this. No one.
And it was literally John's last concert in London, like in the UK, like period.
Yeah. Like, what the hell? That's a crazy to comprehend.
No.
What?
Oh no! I just spilled.
Oh my god! What? Please.
It's fine. The recording's fine. The recording's fine. I just spilled Coke on the floor. Sorry.
I was like, oh my god! Don't say the recording is.
Fuck no! Oh wank! Oh no! Fuck! Wait, hold on. I need to get some towels. Hold on.
Oh my god! I guess it's just me now.
Oh shit! Oh bollocks! It's fucking leaking.
Oh my god!
Have you said anything insightful when I was gone?
No,
I'll make sure to bring that in.
I sat here in silence and I was just like, I guess it's just me. Oh, you gotta keep some of that in. You gotta keep your crash out in.
I'm not keeping the fucking Coke in. Yeah, go on.
Yes, you have to.
Okay,
All you have to. It's just you going. Back.
I'm not sure how far away from the mic I was. That was.
I could hear all of it.
Oh no. It's all moist.
Oh my god.
Right. Wait, hold up.
You just tipped like the entire can out.
There wasn't even much left in it, so I don't know why it made such a
Oh,
mess.
that's going.
It was on the floor, and then I kicked it. I don't know why. It wasn't intentional. It was like, you know, when like your foot just does like an involuntary action.
Yeah. You know when your leg just, randomly moves. Yeah, I get
When
it.
your legs don't work like they used to before.
Yeah.
So anyway, back on track. As if nothing happened. I'm silent. I'm
Nothing
silent. The shit
happened,
out.
guys. Nothing happened. Back to John performing in London.
So,
London.
coke aside, there probably was some coke at that concert. To be fair, quite a bit of it.
There was a shit ton of coke.
But anyway, it was held at the Lyceum in London with only like a few thousand people in the audience, and it was called Peace and Love for Christmas. That's cute, isn't it?
Cute.
And it is heavily overshadowed by the Toronto show, and I have no idea why. Because I mean, this did get released on like sometime in New York City. Like it's not like it's like a deep cut, like never released recording. It's widely available. But I don't think I've ever heard like a single person talk about the fact that George Harrison, who was so against the avant-garde rock shit, then turns up on stage
Yeah.
shredding with Yoko.
Yeah, like, I'm not gonna lie. I didn't know about this until you told me.
Really?
No, I'm like, damn, I didn't know he was there.
He's just chilling in his wee little hat. It's quite cute.
Love it. Oh no, I've seen like the photos,
Yeah.
but I didn't like piece together that was
It looks more like he's
him at that
backstage
show.
from like some of like the like War is Over posters. It looks more like he just like rocked up for the night. But yeah, he's there playing, and there's a few like clips online, and it's
What a
actually
king.
insane. I mean, at the time, George was playing with Delaney and Bonnie, who was also on stage. And John said that he was playing the quote unquote invisible man in the concerts. Like he was just like the guitar player, which seems a bit like ironic that he didn't want to be the guitar player, but I guess I don't know, he just wanted to be back on stage, and touring like that gave him some time without having to like input in a band like the Beatles. Like it was just like a session kind of job rather.
Yeah, like it's a lot less pressure on him if he's just turning up to play his part.
And he can still just do his own thing, like it's completely separate.
Exactly.
And I mean, if you haven't already listened to the recording and the end, like the audience turned into a rhythm section, it just keeps getting faster and faster. The riff just becomes one note until it just explodes. And you have like drummers like Keith Moon going fucking wild. Like it sounds unreal. And it's just like explosive. Like the fact that this was able to be recorded and like preserved. It's not even a deep cut. It's on like a main John Lennon album. But I just
honestly, I think it's like if we can shed more. This is such a fun, but if we can shed more light on this
Inner light,
topic,
if
I'll be
you
very
will.
happy. Like, drawing people's attention to this more. Because I bet a lot of people don't even know.
I mean, I'm like where I did say he did play with Zappa. That's kind of been the forefront of that like live session, because it is. I mean, him playing with the Mothers of Invention is fucking unreal. If you were there at the Fillmore, like that would have been a great night to have John come up in the encore. And like the Zappa estate have like put the full show up on like a triple LP, and that like all of the materials out there from that session, and it's the whole highlight of the inner sleeve. It's all like the Mothers, and then John like fucking wrote all over it doing his thing. But two Beatles sharing a stage, like John would never play with another Beatle again on stage.
Wow.
Like this is, and no one knew that was going to be the last time. you kind of take that for like granted. And I don't know, even if it was just George playing guitar,
That's really special to
that
think
really
about.
is.
And how George was always, especially in the early 70s, you know, he was still collaborating with John. Like on Imagine, he played a big role in the studio with that. He even played with Yoko.
Yeah, which is
Like he
insane.
played the sitar on one of her tracks.
Yeah, Greenfield Morning. I'm not gonna say the whole track name. It's like a
I
fucking
really
Panic.
wanted you to.
No, I'm not doing that. It's like a Panic at the Disco song. I can't. Lying is the most
Is this
funny
Fall Out
girl
Boy?
thing. Like literally, it's fucking 16 Candles. It doesn't sound like it, but that's the kind of shit they were playing at back in the early 2000s.
Yeah, so it's yeah, like it's sweet in a way that he was the last Beatle to play with him, you know?
And they did have like a really special relationship. So George was like nervous to play with him for the Imagine sessions.
Which is crazy to think about.
I guess it's like the idea of like not wanting to let like your sibling down. Like it's where they're not like where they've had this little like falling out. Like lovers often will, to quote Bob Dylan. I don't know.
They still have that love that bring them back, and they don't want to let each other down. Oh, they're making me emotional, not gonna lie.
And like around this time, all three Beatles, so we have John, Ringo, and George, they were all playing with like similar kind of musicians because it was like a little nucleus from like the Apple family. So we had like Klaus Vormann, Jim Keltner, like they were all like drawn from the same kind of cloth at the time. Paul wanted nothing to do with these people. He thought it'd be like quite cliche, and with the lawsuits, you know, it did make things quite tense. But that didn't stop the rest of them from, even during a time that's so like in the court of law, which I think was again like that was above like all of them. Like it was all like above their heads. They didn't really know what they were doing in that scenario. Again, it's the Alan Klein-fication of everything. But
yeah, I think the only person who maybe had some idea was Paul. But I mean, during this time, he was so far, literally and figuratively, from all three of them.
Just up in Scotland having a great time, to be fair. Making some of the best albums of his career.
He was kind of going through it though, wasn't he?
He really was.
Was he having the best time? Like, he was having a great time with his little family, but like at the same time,
he did make Ram though. You got to be a little bit happy to make Ram.
Yeah. But like, you know, you listen to McCartney 1 and you're just like, shit.
He single-handedly invented like bedroom pop music. That's
he
crazy.
Really did.
That's insane.
Played every single instrument on that album.
But this isn't a Paul episode yet.
This is not a Paul McCartney episode.
To be fair, we're giving him some slack. We need to glaze him up because he is a national treasure. I
know. We usually slack him off in every single episode, but we do like worship that man. He is a national.
We're Team
treasure.
Paul today. I mean,
Team Paul.
He knew what was up.
Anyway, we went on another tangent.
It's typical, isn't it? It's typical.
I don't even know where we were. Oh, we were talking about Imagine and how he was nervous.
Imagine sessions. I think
nerve-wracking experience.
Yeah, and although like the sessions had songs like "How Do You Sleep," the drummer who was there, Alan White, said that it was literally the best like songwriting experience he's ever been in. Like it was just such a tame like environment. Like he even said it was like a family. And I mean,
which is hard to imagine because
imagine.
I am just. Can we appreciate my one-liners today?
You're popping off. You're popping off.
I really am. But like saying that and then writing the most like heinous backstabbing song.
What makes you wonder though, if this was the happiest like songwriting experience, The Beatles must have been fucking miserable. No, but
I mean, hey, seeing some of the bits of Get Back, like,
I would want to be like a fly on the wall of that session, because it was Yoko and John like one-upping to make this absolute diss track of Paul, and apparently they were like quite personal in some of the shit they said, with Ringo even speaking out saying, "That's enough, John." Like, I would love to see the original like writing and know what like was left on the cutting room floor.
yeah, it makes you think, like, having Ringo speaking up, like, it's gotta be bad.
Especially like with him saying that they were like highly personal.
Yeah.
But I don't know, there was like a lot of like aminosity. So you had George writing "Sue Me, Sue You Blues" like a couple of years later. There's just, again, don't want to talk about Alan Klein, but you can't not address him within this time. But,
We are the Alan Klein hate club.
and I want to rally, like, if there's any takeaway from this episode, fuck Alan Klein.
And hey, if you hate Alan Klein, let us know. Message it to us, comment to it. Like, just spread the Alan Klein hate.
Hashtag fuck Alan Klein. Let's get that shit. Let's get that shit up on Instagram.
Let's get it trending, guys.
I think we can do it. I think there's enough Alan Klein haters out there to make it, to warrant it.
Oh,
Bless you.
that's me. Thank you.
But yeah, ultimately, I think George was just really happy to be back with John,
Yeah.
despite even it being like quite harsh material. But George did kind of shred. He did kind of eat on the sessions.
He ate so much. And like, him in the Imagine film, I'm shaking the bars of my enclosure.
And hand around, like arm around Yoko. The people that make
Oh.
up this fucking beef between the two, they both respect
I know, it's
each
so
other.
stupid.
I don't think they had the same artistic vision, don't get me wrong. Like, there's a reason that he didn't want to do the whole avant-garde thing. But he never hated her. I don't know where all that came from.
No, I think it was probably a mixture, of the same old sexism,
Yeah.
racism kind of thing. But
I mean, it was like hate going forth back between, like, people even hated Linda for just existing.
yeah, like, I like to
So-
think deep down he still had respect for her at the end of the day.
The amount of people that's like, oh, Yoko ate biscuits. Who gives a fuck? Who actually gives a fuck?
Yoko ate his last digestive biscuit. Like, okay.
Yeah, that's like a friend having your last like chicken nugget. It's a bit annoying. It's not the end of the world,
Like,
is
you
it?
get a bit annoyed and you might say something like, "Oh, you're a dick." But is it that deep?
No.
Oh no, people say that he called her a bitch for
Again,
eating his
I don't
last
really think you.
biscuit.
I don't really think you can like misconstrue like a flippant comment. I mean,
Mm.
ultimately, even if he wasn't the biggest fan of Yoko, he appreciated what she did for John and how much of like a visionary she was.
Yeah, and I think the narrative just gets screwed up a lot.
And there's a lot of like underlying like racism about, like, I think if she was
Mhm.
like, if that was like Cynthia Lennon, people would not bat an eye.
Oh, 100%.
I mean, to go on to like influence bands like the B-52s, like, you've got a lot of like pull. And I'll put it up. Her music, some of it's not entirely what I'm after when I want to like have a nice relaxing drive, but
But on the other hand,
fucking mind blowing.
we went on another tangent.
You really did. But anyway, after like, John was so happy to be back with George, and there was rumors with the concert of Bangladesh that it would be a Beatles reunion, and in a way, I'm glad that didn't happen.
Same.
Which, that sounds like insane, because every Beatles fan wants a Beatles reunion. I don't care who you are. Like, no one. If there was like another album, I don't think anyone would really holler.
Thinking about it though, like, what they broke up in '69,
Yeah.
and they kind of broke up officially after Let It Be. Like it wouldn't really have been a reunion. It's just like a year later.
Yeah, and I also
It
think
would have just been like a little break.
it would have been like a fucking 21 Pilots hiatus or something.
Yeah, they're
But-
like, oh, we're going away. We're like 11 months
Surprise!
later. Hi.
But it just
Yeah.
would have taken away from the concert in general. Everyone would have talked about it
Definitely.
as a reunion and not like the fundraiser that it was like meant to be. Like we already had artists, like huge profile artists like Leon Russell, Bob Dylan, Clapton.
Again.
Ugh, he's always fucking there, isn't he? But
It annoys me. Like
he literally is a wasp. Like
anything in
just
the late
uninvited.
60s, 70s, he's just there. I'm just like, dude.
He's so polyamorous. You kind of
Like,
gotta respect it.
He's turning up at an open envelope. I can't. Ugh. He's turning up at an open envelope. I can't speak. Cut that out.
If there's a
Jesus Christ.
function, he's at it. Bottom line.
Yes. Thank you.
But,
Yeah, I'm grateful. I'm grateful for Paul to like when he shut it down and was refusing a reunion, and yeah, he probably got a lot of backlash, and he was probably expecting it. But at the end of the day, he was just trying to protect the band's image, and like you said, it would have taken away the whole core message.
Yeah.
If it was just a Beatles reunion, because that's what it would have
Like,
ultimately been
if they
remembered
went-
for.
Yeah, if they went up there and just played Twist and Shout and then went off, it doesn't have the same impact as like George in his white suit, like screaming to like help Bangladesh. I
the
mentioned
white
the white suit.
The white suit. And then he takes it off, and he's got the
the wheat orange shirt. Yeah.
feral. God. Anyway.
But yeah, John was down. He was down to play Bangladesh. But there's a little caveat. That little chestnut.
Oh.
He
what
would only do it if he could play with Yoko, which I do get. But he wanted to do another live piece, and he wanted to make this avant-garde like statement for the cause it is meant to be, where it's meant to be like a rock show with like the Indian like influence like grounding it. I think having an avant-garde piece would be quite distasteful, in my opinion.
Yes. It's kind of like Read the Room kind of vibe. You know, this does not like, there's no place for some avant-garde like soundscape.
If it was like John's own, like if it was just like a live piece again, like because that was still a charity concert, like a benefit concert. I feel like that would have had its place, but the fact that George has got the likes of like Ravi Shankar involved and all of his orchestra, having then an avant-garde piece tacked onto that really like dilutes like the severity of it and the impact.
Yeah, definitely.
And supposedly John did then come back and say that he would perform without Yoko, but Yoko found out and they had some heated argument, like a really bad argument. I don't know what happened behind closed doors. I don't think anyone will. But again, I just think it's down to a lack of communication, and it's not a hate on Yoko. But
you don't know. But like you said, you don't know what was said.
But either way, the altercation definitely caused a strain on the pair. So much so that John left America and went back to England while the concert of Bangladesh was going on. America's a big fucking place. I think he could have just chilled. But no, he
but it was in New York, wasn't it?
Yeah.
He probably felt, to be honest, he probably felt a lot of guilt.
Yeah, I do get that.
And maybe that's why he was like, I need to distance myself. So yeah, ultimately John didn't show up, but it was still a phenomenal. Oh, phenomenal.
A feminine phenomenon. A
Phenomenal.
what? A feminine phenomenon.
A phenomenal. I can't fucking say it.
That word.
It was still an incredible show. History was made. Band Aid Who?
Yeah. And sorry, if you've seen the Inner Light Instagram, I've got a bone to pick with you, Mr. Bob Geldof, Mr. Live Aid.
Oh, here he goes. He's on his Bob Geldof rant.
You knew it was coming. You knew it was coming. Bob Geldof, what the fuck was your write up about the Dark Horse tour? Me and you, we're gonna battle out 1-1.
Not you calling out Bob Geldof, right?
This is a call to arms.
Anyway, thanks for listening, Bob, if you're listening.
And if you're not, you can fuck off. No.
But yeah, this was the first ever benefit concert.
Yeah, I mean, no
phone.
musicians got paid for this, which is something that John would be quite outspoken about and say why he didn't play Bangladesh later on, which is a bit odd. He said that Bangladesh was caca and that everyone else was getting paid except for the musicians, which makes you, it kind of makes you question his authenticity of his UNICEF shows, I can't lie. But
yeah,
I
like
think
it's not a good look.
it's not. But I also think it's just
Saying
him projecting and not admitting that he's in the wrong here. I think that's what it boils down to, because he was keen to play.
Yeah, definitely.
But yeah, we've got George making the first benefit show by himself.
I feel like Concert for Bangladesh is a whole kind of episode.
It really, there's so much we can go down. And George would even give Bob Geldof some information of how to handle the money for the charity concert, because guess who fucked that one up? Alan Klein. Who would have guessed?
I thought I was going to get another 10 points. I thought you were going to...
I stole your thunder, I'm sorry.
Literally. Alan Klein, when I find you. I know he's dead, but you know, when I find him.
Reincarnation and shit like that. Find him again.
Yeah, exactly.
Maybe he's a little ant, I can just step on him.
It's probably some sort of fly that dies after a day.
We've got like an ecosystem here. We've got Eric Clapton as a wasp, Alan Klein as a fly. What else have we got?
Is that it? I feel like we've only got 2 bugs.
Well, we got 4 Beatles. Yo!
Oh, yeah.
Yo!
Wait.
Wait, we're popping off.
4 Beatles, a wasp, and a fly.
But yeah, reeling it back. John was a complicated man, as is apparent. And
I mean, just listen to any of his solo work. You know, from the early 70s, definitely. He had a lot.
Maybe you could do about rock and roll. But yeah, I feel like both sides were hurting during the fallout of this. And there were positive moments in between. So you got the recording of like, I Am the Greatest in 1973 of Ringo. But there are a lot of what ifs.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of things that we will never know. You know, that happened between them. It is sweet to know, like, they still loved each other at the end of the day.
Yeah. And I feel like, as you said earlier, again, it's important to like highlight these concerts, like the Christmas show. It's quite hard to like protect John's legacy, for better or for worse. But John was the first person to admit that he was flawed, and that, you know, and speak out about that. You don't hear anyone talking about the likes of like Ringo, what he's done and stuff like that. Not to compare.
You know, it's crazy to think about. Like we mentioned earlier how cutting edge he was when it came to talking about men's mental health.
And like,
you know, no one ever talks about that.
Yeah, he's like unpacking the human condition.
Yeah. I mean, he even like you said, like he admitted that he had done wrong. I mean, just look at what 1967 with Getting Better.
Yeah.
No one else was doing that.
And then spent the whole rest of his life advocating for peace. And
Yeah.
when he died, he didn't want to be a martyr, but he was known as a martyr. That has been kind of tarnished with, like, today it's like, you say you like John Lennon, it's like, oh, did you know he beat his wife? It's like, that's all you hear. I think the, like, Lennon estate, specifically someone like Sean, is doing such a great job of giving albums like Mind Games a second life.
Yeah, and I mean he's been doing that with Plastic Ono Band as well, and Imagine, and just giving new life, and hopefully, these songs land on new ears. Makes you think, wait, all of this crap that you've been hearing, that most of it is false.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, he was a tricky, complex man, but he wore his heart on his sleeve, I think, and he let his demons out. He was never covering anything up. He
was definitely the most open. Like, it wasn't someone like George who would say beautiful things but cover them up in, like, metaphors. Like, he made it very apparent, like, from his first album when he said, "My mummy's dead." Like, he wasn't fucking around. He wasn't beating around the bush.
He never did.
He just said it as it was, even if it was to the detriment of other people, like hurting George by saying that All Things Must Pass was dry.
Yeah, like, I mean, going back to an earlier point when you said how you don't think John was ever on the road to hurt George or any of the other Beatles. It's just he was to the point.
Yeah, like, it was a stream of conscious. He always said the Beatles songs that he hated, and he wrote most of them. Like, he just said it as it was, which you kind of got to commend the man for it.
Yeah, and I mean, at the end of the day, he was his harshest critic.
Yeah, I mean, what's been said about John's already said it about himself, like 10 times over.
Literally. Like, I have nothing else to add. That was like a perfect way to sum it up.
And yeah, it's just mental how two charity concerts, both, like, very high profile, have kind of been the growth and the fall of this friendship. And again, it does lead to a lot of what ifs. Like, there's so many interviews of Lennon from 1980 where I'm halfway through my next album, I'm working on my third, and there's, like, rumors of Beatles reunions that we all know never came to be. But I don't think George ever, like, felt that time was wasted. I mean,
no,
you have the tribute, like, all those years ago where he was the one that imagined it all. And I think both of them are grown up enough to look past their differences in this time and appreciate each other. There was always that love there.
Yeah, I mean, the last known meeting they had was 2 years before John's passing. Like, George just went round to the Dakota one day, and they had dinner, like, very casual. And I also read John still sent postcards to George time to time throughout the 70s. So that's really sweet.
And I mean, you had, like, Paul saying that the last words that he said to him were, "Think of me now and then, old friend."
Oh, Jesus Christ.
And there was always, again, you had all these surrounding blockades, but there was always that love. And I think, if, apart from Alan Klein hate, if you can take anything away from this episode, it's just how much they did love each other. And also, check out that Lyceum concert, because again, it's insane that that was John's last time performing in London
Yeah,
with an ex-Beatle.
and no one talks about it.
No one. I mean,
But hey, we're here
maybe they have,
to
but
we're here to talk about it.
innovate.
I think that's a good place.
Oh, I think
And
that's a good place to wrap it up. If you
Yeah.
enjoyed, share, like, all that stuff. I don't really know to build the algorithm for that, but if you
Yeah,
wanna give it a try, that'd be pretty cool.
and give
And
us a follow over on Instagram.
if my MacBook doesn't die, provided in a fortnight you'll have the next episode of The Inner Light on time this time. So that's pretty cool.
Stunning.
But yeah, take care.
Thank you for listening, and we'll see you next time.
In a bit.
The further one travels, the less one knows. The less one really knows.
So yeah, fucking I can't. Right.
It was his last.
Trying to do like the High School Musical warm-ups. Let's get back into it.
Ma.